Hello and welcome to the live jury website review. I'm Rachel and I will be your host on today's live session. So thank you for joining us. And today's session is coming out live on Awwwards Academy. Awwwards Academy is a learning platform. We've got micro courses, we've got workshops, we've got themes such as motion design, creative portfolios, UX, sketch, whatever you want to learn about as a designer or developer, we've got it covered. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch this again, and you can watch all of our conference talks as well. So hit subscribe. So let's get to it. Let's meet today's jury. So we are very lucky to be joined today by Jonas Lempa from Berlin and Bruno Arizio from Sao Paulo. So they are just connecting now. Hello, Bruno. Hello, Jonas.
Hey, Rachel. Hey, everybody. Hey, Bruno.
Hello. Hey,
yes.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. We're here. Well done.
Great.
So Jonas Lempa is partner and creative director of Taikonauten.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to do this website review for the second time. And thanks for the opportunity to be in the awards jury for the 8th year now. So I'm very proud and very happy to be part of this community. And I'm also saying hi to the team, to my team of Taikonauten who is watching. So enjoy, and everybody else who is joining it from the whole globe and all of the world. So thanks. And Bruno, hi.
Hey, yeah. I'm very glad to be here. I'm not as much long as you are, Jonas, on the awards jury. I'm just here for 2 years, but yeah, it's been an amazing journey to meet everyone in the community, and it's just an amazing community. And I'm gonna say hi as well for my colleagues at Toptal. They're probably gonna watching as well. So hi everyone, and yeah, very happy to have this journey with you, my friend Jonas.
I'll give you a little intro, Bruno. So Bruno, you're designer and creative director at Toptal. So thanks so much for joining us today. Jonas did such an amazing job in the first jury review that we were like, we need to get him back. So
thank you.
He's back. All right, so yeah, really looking forward to today. So I'm going to leave you in Jonas's capable hands, and let's get on with the 5th live jury website review. And I'll join at the end for a Q&A.
All right. So again, hi everybody. Happy to go through the beautiful masterpiece of Wakawaka together with Bruno, created by Mouthwash, Abraham, Ben and Timothee, and this is a platform, this is a website which really amazed us. Wakawaka is a website or a brand by designer Shin Okuda, who's creating functional objects and furnitures, and we have many topics to talk about, because it is a great experience, and I'm even more honored to do that with Bruno, who is going to say a little bit about what we are talking about, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me well? Yeah, is that good?
Absolutely. Even if it's from Brazil and Berlin, it's just like the globe is everything.
The globe is a big, yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, when I first saw Wakawaka, I thought it was amazing, because for me it was sort of like it was a statement. It was almost like a piece of art, you know. It was a sum up of one of the hard-hitting trends that have been seen for the past year or so in awards, which is the poster influence web design. And I think it's in its loading screen, it describes already itself. And I think it kind of like proposes a question, which is like, do you know, like, all these projects were designed as a poster? You know, guess what? You're absolutely right. So I think that's just brilliant, and I think that there's a beauty in making such statement. And yeah.
Great. So awesome. Let's take a quick look on the technical topic, which is basically a quick insight of the page speed insight, which is quite well. Well, the jury, not the dev jury, found a few opportunities to improve by removing some unused JavaScript, ensuring that the text remains visible during the web font load, etc., etc. But since Bruno and I are more of the creative part, it's better that we don't spend too much time on that and basically jump as quick as possible to the actual website, which we are more than happy to show here right now. I'm going to share what we are going to see, and also starting with a very, very important topic Bruno already mentioned. It's the loading screen. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's what sort of like what I was trying to say. I think as a jury member for the past like year or so, I think we saw a lot of these poster-like websites coming up and going into the awards. And when I saw the first time Wakawaka, I was like, I just had a great laugh because I was like, man, this is brilliant, because what Ben and I don't know, like who had this idea of making the loading screen as a poster. I just thought that was amazing because it's this sort of like this amalgamation of all the things that we have been seeing so far in this trend, kind of like becoming a reality. And yeah, I think it's just brilliant. For me, it's one of the most important parts of the website when it states itself as a poster, and then it opens the field for us to discuss, poster design in digital landscape, in the web design. So I think it's quite a phenomenal, way to enter into the website and to introduce to this conversation.
This Ben Mingo, what he did again, right, with Mouthwash. And I guess that they are watching, so hi to them for this great work and almost piece of art we can go through today. So what we see is like an immersive zoom into the poster and giving you basically directly the possibility to scroll to this really, really full screen immersive experience with this beautiful photography, and really gives you the chance to experience the brand, basically. It is actually not a very deep website or a deep platform, but it gives you a lot of things to explore, like these little hovers and micro animations, which really helps you to kind of combine these editorial layout thing with a little bit of digital spark, and it's really great to have this experience. It reminds me a little bit of the last website I reviewed with Get Superfluid, which also had kind of similar characteristics. And as Bruno already said, it's a really, really, really cool trend we like and we are watching.
Yeah, I think totally. Yeah, I think it again. I think it opens this possibility of. I think that's something that I think it's something that I see a lot in awards right now, which is the inspiration of editorial into these websites. And you have like you have this sort of like Swiss kind of inspiration from grid, but it's also like a revision of the Swiss type, because it plays a bit with like other elements that are not necessarily as specific and mathematical as the Swiss style. So yeah.
So let's talk quickly about the navigation before we go into the depth of this experience. So we have a very straightforward navigation, which is kind of displayed as a text. I think it's again a really good example or a question how to balance, let's say, the brand experience with traditional conversation optimized websites and products. And I think they did a very bold statement by saying, well, let's skip a couple of traditional button and link styles, etc., and play a little bit around some topics. It's actually I think we took a look into Mouthwash work, and they are all having like this some kind of handwriting of being very straightforward and combining these typography with interaction elements, which makes you gives you the feeling that you want to explore more. This is also with the navigation, and this little dot here, which is basically another way to explore the sitemap or the subsites, and is also introduced as the main navigational point on mobile. There's many things to explore, and it's definitely a piece of art, right? I think that Bruno got lost. All right, so that's the moment when I'm on the stage by myself. So let me try to jump a little bit into this area of furniture. Dear Rachel, you're going to tell me when Bruno will be back. So basically what Bruno said is this kind of spread between poster design and editorial design, which is a great trend coming up right now. We have some very different approaches and styles at the moment too. So it gives us a wide variety of trends to explore right now. And when you look into this overview, it gives you some possibilities to smirk, to have a nice smile about these small. Oh, welcome back, Bruno. Almost back. So it gives you the small hints to explore, and you really want to hover over everything and trying to find out what is working, what is not working. It can be a little bit ambivalent between these. I mean, we are kind of a world where you also would like to have some e-commerce influence, right? It's products, you want to present them, you want to sell them. But the guys from Mouthwash, and probably together with the team of Wakawaka, decided, well, maybe it's not about selling, only selling. It's about experience a certain way of design and certain way of look and feel the brand is standing for, and the products are standing for. So it goes very much hand in hand. And this is the moment where I also ask if Bruno is back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, having some technical issues here. Hopefully it's stable now. Yeah, this is like Murphy's Law, right? When you're like in most need of the almighty internet, it messes you up. But yeah, I think I'm back. Hopefully. So yeah.
Great, don't worry. Welcome back. I mean, what we're doing at this point is we are on the area of furniture, where we have the overview of, I guess, most of the products this website shares. It's very interesting because Wakawaka, and if you look also what the guys did from Mouthwash, is that they have very different websites and very different styles, and they're even playing around with the logo type, right? So we have here, for example, the very straightforward font. We have here a little bit playful logo type with, I don't want to say something wrong, but I guess Japanese signs. And so the guys are so bold with their look and feel and their branding that they say, well, we can do whatever we want. The feeling of this product also transports the brand approach, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great work of art direction, and into like creating this atmosphere around the brand. I think that it's probably the way that I see it, it's a brand that it accepts the idea that you can sometimes put a little bit of form above functioning. At the same time, it's a high functioning website, but I think you can play around, and the art direction almost like takes the stage into like if you put in contrast with other like you know, like projects that you know, like studios that have like products like chairs and furniture, I think that's quite a nice thing that you can use art direction as the stage element and as the biggest element of a brand. You know, I think it shows the potential of, you know, sometimes you don't have to be strictly rigid on UX affordances and you know, green buttons and etc. I think that's a great showcase that when the brand allows and when the product allows, you can you know, break in the affordance kind of like UX guidelines, and you can do things that works as a brand and not necessarily, you know, conversion focused or something like that. You know, I don't know if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you can see that. For example, boy, they did a good job on the smoothness of the website. I know you can't see it through this through the stream, but when you experience Wakawaka, I really love the timing of animations, of how things popping up on the one hand side. On the other hand side, and that's exactly what you just said. Sometimes it's really hard to know where do I, like on the one hand side, you can explore. On the other hand side is where do I interact? Where can I interact? For example, these filters, as you can see here, they're working a little bit different. Here, the active state is, for example, capital letters. At the navigation, it's underlined. I mean, of course, we all know that this is kind of the freedom of a designer and the freedom of art, but sometimes it helps, especially in areas like this, to guide a user and help them with some learned patterns of how to navigate. Because for me, for example, it took me a while to actually come to the areas of tables or with the different photography, and so this is a very interesting balance they choose. I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of brutalism, hiding user interface, user interaction things, but that's my personal opinion, which doesn't mean that it doesn't work as an overall concept, especially because we have this great contrast between pretty small typography and huge typography, which also gives some kind of disbalance, which at the other point is known from kind of magazine styles, design styles, which are at the moment very, you can see a lot. Yeah. But however, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think that the photography and the graphic design, I think they both share like the same art direction. I think the photography, you know, it's hard to say that if you had the photography beforehand or you had it, you know, as a part of creating the entire atmosphere for the brand. But I think the two things work very well connected. You know, using all the chairs, you know, the way, the angles, the colors, the way that all the photography was shot and is being used in the website, I think it works in a very solidness among the website. I think it matches very well the atmosphere that the website is trying to pass. And yeah, I think one of the biggest points here is that and this is something that I love about this website, which is as it is very simple and it uses very simple elements and uses very simple typography, you know, at the same time, it has very like sophisticated interactions. So, you know, the hover states, the interactions, the animations, when you click on one place, you go to the other. I think that it's so, there's such a smoothness into it. And I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments of something that the paper, if you go back to that idea that I was trying to say at the beginning of the poster design reference, you know, this interactivity is something that you cannot do with paper, and now you can do it with web because, you know, you can control those kind of things and the smoothness of the interactivity. So what I like about the website as an entire piece is how it starts with a very basic assumption, a very basic idea.
Well, I guess I'm by.
And it adds layers and layers of this helps with sell product, selling selling the pieces, the chairs, and the furniture that is being proposed here. So I think it's just when I look at this, sometimes I think of what. Can you hear me well, Jonas?
Yeah, I can hear you again. There was just a quick drop out, but it's okay.
Yeah, but am I good? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What I think it's quite nice is like when you have paper on your hand, there's all these senses that you can explore, because it's something that it's tactile, so you can touch the paper, you can smell it. There's the ink on the paper. That I think that idea that a lot of people loves about graphic design, that you can open a book, there's like that that wonderful ink of smell of ink, and I think those sort of like sensations are in a way changed and mimic when you use these sort of interactions on the website. So the idea that the website is very smooth and interactive, I think those kind of things, it's very nice. It applies to a lot of sites that we have been seeing so far in Awwwards, but it definitely applies to this one. And I think the way that it's just makes it simple and at the same time applies all that kind of thing. It's just a wonderful, in my opinion.
What I think which is pretty cool is when you look at here, for example, it seems like a little bit of a magazine, of a brochure. You go to some of those beautiful design furniture places and you get one of those things in your hand, and you almost forget that it's actually interactive. And then you go from the product detail page and then things are starting to move and you think, what the hell? I am at Harry Potter or whatever, where things on paper start to move and give you some kind of experience. Also, this beige look and feel looks like a little bit like an old paper, which was a little bit too long in the sun. So this whole design context, design context and concept really gave those guys a great opportunity to be especially loved by like design lovers and are and through that they had the opportunity to get so positive votes on the topic of becoming a site of the day. What I see here, for example, and it actually took me 2 or 3 attempts, that I was at this page and I thought, dude, this is a nice product page, and I can even click here on one of those pictures and I get like this full immersive, full screen experience where some little automatic helper is bringing me through the site and gives me the opportunity to really see the details of the product. On the other hand side, it took me a while to then get to additional information. Like I want to say, well, this is freaking amazing product. So how do I get there? And of course, there's the info at the right bottom, but it's not necessarily the most ideal way to show that you actually can scroll or interact with that. But when you're there, it's really smooth, and it's getting this whole full page view experience with a little bit of text and a little bit of tech details, which makes it interesting to explore.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something that it's quite. I think it's a quite nice argument, which is the product itself, the brand and the content of the website it speaks a lot to the designer community, into a design,
Yes.
you know, people that already consumes design, people that already is related to design and to, you know, art direction, into this sort of architecture, art kind of like scenario. And I think in a situation like this, you can even sometimes you can break out of those rigid guidelines of what is supposed to be the perfect website. You know, the affordances driven website, the affordance driven project that, you know, have all the oriented copy and etc. I think one of the nice things is that you can explore that because of the audience, and I think it does here perfectly that. And I don't know, I think it puts me into even questioning if it's, how can I put this, but if it's like you almost put like form a little bit in the front of functioning, and because we have been like, for what, like 15 years already, we have been learning and teaching people how to use the web and how to buy a product. Yeah, everyone is very like related to that already. And what I like about this website is that it sort of it says that, well, have the button like straight, you know, the contact for purchase button like in a very like above the fold, or in a very important specific scenario. It plays with all those things, and it sort of like subverts that idea that the UX driven website is like necessary, especially here. And that's something that I think it's quite interesting in the whole experience.
I mean, it's also a little bit untraditional, let's say untraditional product page, because what I think is interesting, and also, and I'm still a little bit biased about it, what to think about this, but you have this great typography, the possibility to read. Then you have a little bit of this, not a little bit, but of this kind of technical list where you get all the information. And now I'm kind of triggered, you know, you're like somebody, a user got led to this page, to this great immersive experience. Then I want to get some information. And the first thing I was looking, okay, what material is it, and what colors are possible, and so on and so forth. And I was looking at the list here, and yeah, I thought, okay, well, then maybe they are not telling me something. And then I saw that it's actually hidden in the text. And this is a little bit what I'm still thinking about. How, I mean, I can't answer that at this point. And I mean, we can emphasize how the collaboration was and what is the goal of this website. But I have the feeling that sometimes it's really hard to identify, okay, are we going to show some brand purposes? Are we actually want to sell something? Or is it just like kind of giving some basic information? Because I think a couple of things are missing on a traditional, let's say, platform or website, which goes a little bit into the e-commerce direction, which is also shown by this lightbox, or it's not lightbox, but this overlay of requesting one of those products, and it's all fine, it's all great. But I was questioning myself, okay, what is the purpose of this website? Why are there actually technical details and the possibility to contact thing if it's maybe more about an immersive experience? But I don't know what you think, but that was one of the questions I had as a product designer, as a web designer, as a digital designer, who always looking at the purpose of the user. And it's very possible that the purpose of the user here, which definitely goes into one specific trend, is specifically showing what's all possible, and more or less like of showing off the great understanding of design instead of just going through details and technical views. But what I really love is this little piece here, which is almost as hidden as this cool dot here at the top, which gives you the opportunity to go to the navigation. So as soon as you click here, you have this kind of super smooth transaction to the next product. And I know that in the stream is maybe not that smooth, but try it out on wakawaka.world. And you can see how they was thinking, okay, well, there's somebody at the top of the page, and we have kind of a name for that at Taikonauten. We always say, well, definitely let's try to not to create a anti-dead end teaser. So we are trying to avoid stop at the end and giving the opportunity to go to the next product or to the next purpose we would like to show.
Yeah, I think when I look at the website as an entire piece, I think it's nice that all the pages, the typography, the construction, the grids, they all like play a part into the experiences. It's almost like nothing is a hero, because the product is a hero, of course, but at the same time, typography is a big important part of the website. So it's not like it's and this is an interesting thing as well, by using this Swiss influencing this Swiss influence into the website. I think it, because of the big typography and everything, and because of like the way that we see things today, I think the design becomes like as big as the chairs. And even though it's quite simple, but I think the entire thing works in a very interesting experiences. And I think you mentioned something, Jonas, when we were talking yesterday about the, I don't know if I can pull this off, but
sure. Yeah, I mean we were wandering around a little bit, because the Swiss style influence, and at some point, without over-engineering or over-interpreting something, there's this kind of concept of wabi-sabi, which is kind of an Japanese understanding of aesthetics, where there's like this where you're looking at the perfection of imperfection. Some things are in the grid and some things are beautiful, but on the other hand side, you're hovering about something and it's not straight. Maybe it's turned up. Textures are not necessarily great into the grid. The things are showing up. So it's a little bit about
the grid breaks at a lot of points, and the typography breaks at a lot of points. It has like mix of serif and sans serif. And I think that whole concept of wabi-sabi that you mentioned, I think it quite, I didn't thought about that at first. And then when you mentioned it, was like, man, this is great. I think this is a great way to, argument about this whole thing, because yeah.
Also kind of like this color scheme and the look and feel brings you in this world of this beige and white, and also like these little bit uncrispy photography. I mean, again, maybe I'm just seeing something which was never meant like this, but it's the beauty of the thing, right? You're creating something, and as a designer, or as a web designer, or also as a developer, so you're always thinking, okay, what was the purpose? How was the situation? What can we learn from it? What was the possibilities behind that? And I mean, we are learning so much through experiencing perfect or imperfect products. And don't get me wrong, I don't see it as an imperfect website, but this kind of style gives you a great motivation and brings you to this cool moment where you just want to hover about everything, so everything is full of pictures. Not necessarily the most usable website in the sense that you're getting clear to a funnel and really going to somewhere, but well, sometimes it's also good, or not sometimes, but oftentimes when you know your target group and when you know what you would like to say, it's especially those things which makes you entertained.
Yeah, I think that's quite nice what you just. I think that idea of perfect and imperfect, I think it really fits in very well here as well, because I think we are not anymore the because I think that when we talk about when you talk about the influence of this minimalist Swiss aesthetic into the website, we're talking about a modern society that was going for this perfect world. There was this ideal society, ideal thinking in the society to go into this very mathematical and going for perfection. And I think that nowadays, we're already into this postmodern idea, and it's not anymore about this perfection. We already know that the world is not perfect. We already kind of acknowledge that, and I think that there's you start to add a lot of different influences to the saucepan, and it's not anymore one specific point of view. It's not like that Swiss or German point of view. Now it's much more a diverse point of view, and I think that it comes from it shows in the using the combination of the sans serif typeface with this serif typeface, with like breaking the grid at points. No, it's not completely squared grids. It has irregularities.
Yeah, and for example, look at
all. Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to comment one thing. For example, look at this. I mean, nobody can tell me that this is easy to read or this is kind of optimized for a mobile experience. But it's okay. It's okay at this point because it's somehow in balance with the brand experience. And this is you need to have some kind of experience and feeling to get this balance, because sometimes designers or industries or whatever try to be part of this trend and saying, well, we are cool because we are imperfect. Well, maybe in a specific area or a specific target group, but I mean, even if you don't understand Wakawaka completely, like brand and what is the history, etc., you get the feeling that this is kind of thought through very well, especially when you look at this mobile experience, where maybe some kind of a typo or links are a little bit small, but however, we got introduced the button, this dot at the top here on the desktop experience to function as navigation, and you have here kind of this concept which goes through everything. I had the feeling first that this button here is maybe showing which website you are. So I got at the beginning a little bit confused, but I think these are all things, if there are some iterations or if there are some kind of next websites, they are maybe or maybe not thinking of things like that. But as you can see in the past of Mouthwash and Bang Mingo, and hi to everybody, that they were always kind of creating closed experiences for every collection, for every product, which is also cool because they have all some kind of handwriting. But on the other hand side, they're probably not touching that again afterwards, because it's a closed environment and some kind of product or experience which are interconnected, but also temporary. And I think that's a nice approach, as long as it fits to the narrative and the storytelling.
Yeah. I think another thing that I'd love to talk about, and I think it's not particular to this website, but I think this website also exemplifies that very well, which is that the internet is starting to be to open to sort of a more diverge set of skills, and this is and what I mean about this is that we see a lot of art directors and graphic designers doing amazing websites, and this is an example as well. It's a very graphic design driven website, and I think when you open the almost like you open the party to different disciplines, that are all tied to design, but not necessarily a product design. You don't. It's when you start to see the web not necessarily as a product, but also maybe it's like a little book, maybe it's a poster, maybe you start to broaden the scope of what's possible to be done. And I think that because the web is like, especially when we play with Canvas and WebGL and that kind of stuff, I think the web is sort of like this empty canvas that you can put anything on it. You can create any sort of experience. It doesn't have to be product. And Wakawaka, for example, for me, it's a piece of amazing graphic design, that could be on a catalog in the counter in the store. But right now it's here living into this digital environment, and there's a lot of things that we can learn from it, and like putting art direction and graphic design and learning from these things into creating websites that are not always the same, and doesn't always follows the same sort of strict guidelines. I think when you understand that you can do different things, that you can put a button sort of like hidden like below the fold, that you can like you can use like a hamburger menu that's not a hamburger menu, that's actually a little circle, those kind of things, those exploratory fields. I think that's quite I don't know, I think it's quite healthy for the industry, that there are life, outside the three little bars of the hamburger menu. You can do different things, you can play with different things. It's totally. And I think that people are already they already know what to expect when they see a little button on the top right hand corner, and I think that those kind of things, with those little details that I look at this website, I think it opens the field and opens the horizon for exploring different shapes of buttons.
But Bruno, at this point, at this point, sorry to interrupt you, but I would like to, because we need to jump into the Q&A very soon. So I would like to do maybe a final statement or something like that, because we didn't look at the studio page now. This is the guy who designed these freaking beautiful furniture, and I was thinking about the question: is there something I would like to improve? I mean, that's or the community asked that. Sorry for that, but the community asked that if there is something to improve. I think there's often the topic, speaking of content is king, but I think context is king, or context is even more important, because by browsing through all the websites and all the sites and subsites and products, you get some kind of feeling. And what I was expecting when I click on the studio, I mean, we get a great introduction of what Wakawaka is, based in LA, the idea behind that. But somehow I have the urge to understand more. What is the motivation? Where is Wakawaka leading to? Why did they decide to be so bold, to have so many different typography design styles for their logo, and so on and so forth? So if I had the wish for Mouthwash for the next masterpiece, I would say it would be beautiful to get a little bit more context. Because as you can see here, it's not a very deep site, but it's a very beautiful site. And even we were capable of talking 45 minutes about that and about every site, what is good, what can be optimized, what is beautiful, which trends can we see here, and where does the the role of a UX designer or product designer could possibly lead to in a completely decentralized home office world. So yeah, that's something I'm missing here. A little bit more context to really not only engage with the products, but also become engaged with the brand and the idea behind that. So that would be my short idea or my short tip to improve. And before we jump into the Q&A, Bruno, do you have something you would like to add? If you had the possibility to get into the war room with the client, with Wakawaka, with the guys from Mouthwash, what would be your 2 cents to bring to this product or project?
I think I like the idea that you just mentioned about going a little more in depth about the content, the studio, the vision, what is Wakawaka in the more depth. But I also think that the mysteriousness of it also ties very well and binds very well with the experience. I think that the website really, I think I wouldn't. I don't say that it would change anything. I think it's quite nice the way it is, and I think that's there's a lot of personal and there's a lot of personal input into this by the designer, I suppose. And I think that the idea of the perfection versus the imperfection of the decisions that is made, it always circles around and creates this atmosphere that we were talking about. So I think I wouldn't, if I had to change anything, I probably wouldn't. But maybe you're right. Maybe
that's very democratic. It's very diplomatic.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I would add more information on the studio page. But apart from that, as far as like the art direction and as far as the design decisions, I think they're all fit very well with the proposal of the website. And I just think it's superb. I wouldn't change it.
It's a great inspiration, definitely. And that's the point, I understand, where we need to give up and stop talking about this beautiful website. We could talk for hours, and it is a great product. Thank you very much, Bruno, so far. Rachel is already here and has some Q&As for us, right? Oh, Q's.
Hi. Yeah, I'm back. Thanks for that, guys. We've got loads of questions, so let's get to it. We've got a question for Bruno. Could you tell us something about the influence of the international or Swiss style in the digital world nowadays?
Oh, that's a deep thing. I think that well, yeah, it would take like hours to talk about that, but I think I think that's quite that's something that's quite happening, and I think it's coming back as a trend, in my opinion. I think there was a common making things that very mathematically perfect, and there was this idea, this Swiss idealism of perfection, in the early modernism days of Otto Escher and all the big Swiss typographers and Brockman and everyone. And I think there's a big urge to come back to that movement now. I think there's a lot of people that I don't know, I love magazines, I love independent magazines, and I see a lot of the Swiss style coming back to these independent magazines a lot, and also in the awards in the awards community, there's a lot of websites that have this influence, absolutely, but it's a different type of influence. It's not anymore the same, because the idealism that you'd had in the 40s and the 30s, it's different from the idealism that we have now, almost like 100 years later. So I think it's a different way to interpret that. And I think that when Jonas mentioned about the wabi-sabi thing and the idea of perfect versus imperfect, it's a nice way to put it, because there is this idea of using the grid to break it. So you see a lot of the influencing things. You have the grid, but then you indent the paragraph a lot inside, because it's sort of like it's this idea that you're breaking the grid at the same time that you're constructing it. So there's I could go on for like ages talking about that, but I think it already sort of answers the question, hopefully.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Bruno. So we've got a question from Pedro Martes. Are these pages aimed at just offering a great experience? And what would be the ideal team to design this type of website?
I'm very sure that Bruno and I could talk a lot about it because we have very different experience, but always getting to some consensus, which is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, the team behind that. I mean, it's not a very crazy, not a very deep product. So I guess, I mean, we are built up as an agile, as an iterative team. So ideally, you're always trying to solve a product or a solution or a challenge, not by the traditional waterfall principle, but being more in a team, having your. I mean, this is a perfect website which you can create with 2, maybe 3 persons, really in a really great exchange with the client. I just can guess, but either on the one hand side, the client is trusting Mouthwash so much that they're just clicking and they know what to do, or they were together or friends or knowing each other or sitting in the same room and really creating these basic layouts and look and feel and really interpreting it to that. So I guess this is a team, a great designer, understanding for art direction, typography, but having this understanding of animation, of interaction, and together with somebody who has great understanding of front end. I don't think that this website has a content management system or something like that because it's just not necessary. So it's possible that this website was created in a really great sprint with a great collaboration with the client or with a complete understanding of what the client and especially the target group would like to see. And during I'm saying this, I forgot the first part of the question, so maybe you can repeat that.
Hang on, let me have a look. I already deleted it. Hang on, answered. Okay, so are these pages aimed at just offering a great experience?
Okay, yeah. I personally think yes, because I mean, these are high-priced products, beautiful products, handcrafted products. It's probably it costs almost the same price to ship it outside of the USA than the actual cost. So I think it's just a brand experience to have this viral effect maybe through designers who see that and share that, and it wins the side of the day, and the brand gets more and more popular. It has some kind of product or e-commerce or conversion approaches. But not necessarily, sorry for that, thought until the end. But maybe this is also not maybe this was not the task. So it is the only challenge is that the user maybe doesn't understand it 100%. So having some kind of information saying, well, we are only selling these in our studios, at our partners or something like that, has a much more solid standing than having kind of a little bit of everything. But hey, I just can emphasize and think how the situation was. I wasn't part of that, but however, it is a great product. And as soon as you are bold enough and having the right statement and showing what you're standing for in a way like this, you did a good job.
Great answer.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Totally.
We've got a question from Vishal. Can you please talk a little bit about the extra large typography trend?
Extra large typography trend. I think it comes a lot from poster design, and it comes a lot from I think it started. I don't know. I've seen there's a lot of websites that I've been reviewing lately that has this big type of face, and it plays with like the placement of the type, and it sort of like it's almost like it's dynamism with the typography. I think that it maybe comes from the field and so many beautiful type foundries that independent type foundries that are around right now, and they're all doing like beautiful, amazing work. And I think that's a way to praise them in a way, you know. You have like, yeah, I think you know, there's so many amazing, and to create a font, it's something that it's so time consuming, and it takes a lot of craft and takes a lot of love to create, and it sometimes doesn't even pay off very well, because it's something that I think the amount of time that you put into creating a typeface, it takes so it's very time consuming, and a lot of people do that for the passion of creating typefaces, and in a way, using all these very type heavy and large typefaces in this web projects, I think it's a way to praise the industry. It's a way to, you know, shine a light into those typefaces and into the intricacies of the serifs or the ink tracks on, or whatever it is that makes that typeface unique. So I think I don't know if it answers the question, but I think it probably is living into that realm. Yeah.
Maybe let me add one thing to that. Sorry, really quick. And maybe I sound here like the grandpa of internet, but I mean, I mean, 15 years ago there was Flash. Everything was possible. Everything was crazy. Probably 90% of the people don't know this anymore. Now which is beautiful. Now we have no limits. So no limits of typography, no limits thanks to WebGL, thanks to, in the most of the areas, the speed of the internet. We have these crazy trends like here, this big typography, almost maybe for some subjective reasons, even too big. On the other hand side, we have this kawaii, bubbly style by pitch.com, or Claudio Guglieri just released a new portfolio, which also shows these 3D elements and sometimes video, but sometimes also kind of a WebGL experience. Bruno and I talked a little bit about that yesterday. So the great thing is, everything is possible, and that's the beauty of the thing, that we are not stuck in one specific style like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, where they were everybody did the same illustration, everybody did the same color scheme. But now the variety of trends and design directions are much higher. So keep up the work and challenge the
do it different. I think that's a nice thing to, you know, mention about different trends and different things that are coming up and we're seeing. I think that's amazing, you know, because this shows how many voices we are opening the industry to, you know, to speak. So I think there are so many different trends that are current right now, and one is like this, you know, big typeface Wakawaka kind of style. Another one is just like Jonas just mentioned. So I think, you know, there's so many, and there's so many room for those influences and those different takes and looks into the web. So yeah, and Awwwards a big platform to praise that and to showcase that. I think that's the community in Awwwards is very, you know, very supportive and very engaging with all these different trends and all these different things that are coming up. So I think it's an amazing time for the industry and for Awwwards itself, because I think it does a great job.
Thanks, Bruno. Well, that kind of like leads quite nicely onto another question that we've got from Charlene, which is, what are the expected trends for 2021? So is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Do you want to go or me to go, Jonathan?
Yeah, I can add a little bit. I mean, nobody can look into the future, right? But I'm very happy that some kind of things changed. Again, we have a high variety. We have these poster designs. We have these bubbly designs. We have these cute designs. We have, hopefully soon, overcome this hardcore brutalism style, which is my personal understanding. What is interesting is I mean, Big Sur, macOS Big Sur just came out, and I mean, we all know that Apple is sometimes one of the impact givers for new, not design trends, but new design directions. Because before, 2 years ago, there were already things happening which Apple, from my side, kind of adapted or interpreted for them. We have again, like, we are not flat anymore, but we are also not super deep, but we are very round, very shapy. There's some kind of depth, and again, these 3D modeling, these cute ones, kawaii style, very beautiful. You see around 1 and 2 years, and I think that everything goes a little bit back to this. Oh, there's something happening in here.
Yeah, it's all going on.
No, but so I think it goes to this direction. I think Bruno also has some thoughts on that.
No, I think that you're quite right. I don't think that the brutalism and the heavy graphic design influence is gonna go. I think it's gonna be current. I think that there is a lot of new things coming in. The type foundries are doing a lot of movement in creating new fonts, and this wheels is spinning very fast. And I think there's quite a lot of juice to take of this sort of graphic design influence kind of layout still. One thing that I see a lot that's happening, and that's exactly what Jonas mentioned. There was this for the past year. There was this 3D. A lot of people were experimenting with 3D. WebGL sort of started to be more and more easily approachable. There was like more curses, more things going on with the WebGL, and people are starting to use 3D into the websites, into designs. A lot of agencies and studios are doing that and applying 3D very well into web design. And I think this coming of 3D is quite easily graspable. It's quite easy to see that happening. I think that Apple, when they talked about the new macOS, they used that new 3D to their icons. They were already drinking from that thing that was happening a year ago, and then they are pushing it forward. And I think that more and more we're going to see more different materials, different layering of materials, and this I think this spread of 3D in digital. I see that happening very well, but I don't know. Let's see. Like Jonas said, we cannot predict the future, but looks like it.
I would like to emphasize about one more thing. It's maybe not a trend, but a kind of belief and focus is design is there, whatever the trend is, design is there to solve problems. And to solve problems, you need to know the user and your target group. So I just want to emphasize, try always to get to know your user by research, by user testing, by UX research or whatever. That's my advice I can give everybody, every designer, every developer. What problem do we want to solve, and solve it together with the user, and don't design for yourself.
Yes, good point to end on. We have got one more question for you, Jonas. It's from Jessica on YouTube, and she's saying, Jonas, could you tell us something about the imminent future of blockchain-based projects and how a product designer can understand and learn about the possibilities it brings?
That's totally for you. I cannot say about blockchain. I just shut my mouth and let them.
So hi Jessica, thanks for this question. I mean, dude, this is a deep one, but I mean, we were all part of the internet, not part of the digital trend in the last couple of years. There's blockchain as a technology, as an underlying invention, not invention, but an underlying infrastructure. And I'm not talking about crypto. Crypto is something else. It's about the technology of blockchain, which teached us a different thinking, which teached us that it's also possible to have decentralized information, to have decentralized ecosystem, which brings all the things together, makes it more transparent, and let people be part of a movement. And a couple of years later, we got the freaking pandemic, and now everybody's in the home office. Things work differently. You have kind of social movings, people are interacting differently, cities doesn't matter anymore, whatever, yeah, and all these things are kind of you could not prepare but learn a lot about these movements when understanding of the possibilities of how blockchain can change the environment, or how blockchain can change the interaction of technology and the thought of decentralization. And I think this is very beautiful, and this understanding of how the digital context can work. And when you really go deep into that, you will come. I mean, in German there's a word which is called Prozessmusterwechsel, which means that there's like when you kind of understand it, it clicks and gives you new opportunities of how collaborate, of how seeing on things. And I can highly recommend to. You don't necessarily need to understand in detail how every different blockchain in this world works. Or like what is the purpose, but the idea behind that has great potential. And even if there was some kind of trend in the last couple of years, you can be sure that you can be sure that this is not going to be the last time that you will hear about that. So take a look, enjoy, and become a better product designer for the future status quo.
Nice inspirational message there from Jonas to wrap up. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us and sending us all your questions. Our next live session is on September the 24th, and we're going to be joined by Margot Gable. She's the designer at Build in Amsterdam, and she's going to be talking about turning web accessibility to your advantage.
That's quite cool, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys,
Yeah, I saw her talk live on the last year's Amsterdam event. It was just amazing. Yeah, she's great, and the work that they're doing in Build in Amsterdam is just amazing. So yeah, definitely tune in and definitely watch it.
Okay, we'll be waiting for your questions for her then, Bruno.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, I'm sending hi to Amsterdam too, because they're doing a great job. And I'm also doing the next website review somewhere in October. So Rachel, maybe you can say something to that too.
Yes, well, we will promote that closer to the time, but Jonas will be back for more live during website reviews. So thank you so much, guys, for coming. Remember, everyone at home, to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can watch all of these live sessions again. And that's all we've got time for today. So thank you so much to Bruno.
Thank you. Yeah, that was amazing. It was a pleasure. It was fun. Yeah, I'm sorry if there was like a little bit of like technical problems in the beginning, but yeah, everything went very well, and I'm very happy to be here. Yeah, amazing.
And thank you so much, Jonas, for coming back for a second time. We're looking forward to doing more live jury reviews with you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, the whole awards community and the team behind that. Thank you, Bruno. That was great fun, and definitely not the last time. So yeah, let's keep in touch, everybody, and reach out, as you can see here, to our Twitters, to our Instagrams, to all those things. We are more than happy to jump on every conversation. And yeah, thank you, everybody, and keep designing.
Okay.
We love you, engineers.
Okay.
Keep the great work. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.